As a Dragon Ball fan growing up, I think there's experiences that we all share. Constantly trying to do a Kamehameha, only to realize you can't because you don't have two right hands. Furiously trying to go Super Saiyan, only to realize the sadness that you just can't. And reality isn't so pleasant, and there's no whimsy in the world. The world is a cruel, dark, and lonely place that, doesn't have any imagination, love, and of course playing every Dragon Ball game you could get your hands on. Today I just want to reminisce and talk broadly about a series of games that I honestly hold so dear to me, and that of course is the Dragon Ball Budokai series. Going from Budokai 1 all the way to Tenkaichi 3. And get this, you can play all of these games on a single PS2. As if you didn't need more reason to believe that the PS2 is the GOAT of consoles. Holy shit. You see, growing up, my family wasn't exactly, rich. I wasn't diving into pools on money. My bathtub wasn't the size of a swimming pool. I didn't have a Maybach in the living room. So my allowance was basically, you get one video game a year for your birthday. So I would just have to hope to the gods that I picked a good game, because that would be the only game I could play that whole year. And of course, that game would always be the newest Dragon Ball Budokai game, despite literally knowing what I was signing up for every single time. Because one thing about Dragon Ball games for pretty much ever is that the story mode is always just a retelling of the story from the show. But for whatever reason, we Dragon Ball fans did not give a single molecule of a shit. We gladly, smile on our face, boner in our pants, wasted our hard-earned money just to fight Raditz all the way to Kid Buu again and again on an endless cycle. We ate that shit up. In fact, the first Budokai game did this so well, they even, just like the show, had the episode bumpers. I actually go back to certain cutscenes from this game, despite, the graphics not looking that great. But I actually do watch these scenes because a lot of them are really great. I still get the goosebumps when Goku yells, "It's over! Freedom!" Or after his big heroic speech, he ends it with the iconic ass line of, "I am called Goku, and I am a Super Saiyan!" In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of Dragon Ball fans learned the full story of Dragon Ball through this game, or really any of the games. And they would always try to present the story in a unique kind of way. Budokai 2 probably did it the worst way with this fucking game board thing, like... Whose idea was this? Would not be surprised if this thing was the whole reason why in the HD remake they cut out Budokai 2. Or in Budokai 3 when they had the genius idea of having you actually fly around to each story point. Honestly, this should have been in every game. The combat of these games is also something that would continue to change and evolve, and I think influence a lot of future anime games from then on. When you get to the Tenkaichi series, this was the first big anime game to do that whole 3D, you can fly around and the whole arena fighter kind of game. This pretty much influenced and set the whole blueprint for so many anime games from then on. And you totally understand why, because this made you feel like you were having a real anime Dragon Ball fight. Something that the 2D games couldn't really capture. The feeling of being able to just fly around wherever you wanted and chase down your opponent through the entire map, it just felt unreal. Until you hit that invisible wall, but forget about that. Just having this really made you feel closer to being a real Dragon Ball fighter. And the Tenkaichi series only continued to evolve, adding more stages, more characters, and more complex ways to fight. Until you reach the GOAT, the God, the game you came to when a knives-only fight on Rust in Modern Warfare 2 just wasn't enough to settle these, universally heated debates. The ultimate game to have at home to play with your friends and settle debates. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Check out my moves. I am convinced that there was not a single household with a PS2 that did not have one of these games in its arsenal. And over the years, I've heard people try to debate that, oh, this game's story is done much better than Tenkaichi 3, and Tenkaichi 3 is a bit overrated. But here's the thing.
None of that shit matters.
Because this game had the most fucking characters. Because to satisfy a Dragon Ball fan, all you need is a lot of fucking characters. Even ones we're literally never gonna use, like fucking Puel or fucking Frieza's soldier number fucking 82. Like, when have you ever heard anybody say, "Hold the fuck up, you haven't played my main yet. Peel off machine." And honestly, with the way that games are nowadays, a fat chunk of these characters would be just fucking DLC. And honestly, for a party game, if you got like really good at this shit, some of the combos were actually kind of complex. This shit had some depth. Me and a couple of my friends had this whole like arc of our lives where all we did was play and practice Budokai Tenkaichi 3 as if it was gonna be like the next big game in Evo or some shit. But it wasn't. We were just practicing to be better than each other. And this was like 5 to 7 years after its release. They just wanted to beat me because your boy was certified unfuckwittable at these games. And so these absolute mad lads, stuck on the idea of beating a single friend in a Dragon Ball Z game, decided to seclude themselves and have this huge training arc. And they walked out of that time chamber smelling like disappointment, shit, and cum, but they had reached God level. And we just became gods of this dead-ass game, knowing every single input and iframe down to the last hair on Goku's ass. Because Tenkaichi 3 actually had a lot of hidden mechanics that you could learn. And because of this, I'm never gonna forget this game. I know these games aren't as competitively viable or complex as, the amazing Dragon Ball Fighters or, just games like that. But you know what those games don't have that I would castrate myself to get back? The mark of a true warrior. The fucking beam clashes! I swear to you, there was not a more satisfying nut than beating your friend
and pretend like we never heard it. We're just gonna move past it. But pause.
At a beam clash. Not leveling up in a game, not perfecting a combo, not feeling the loving touch of a woman. No, none of that shit could compare to this. Even if I fucked up all the material on the analog stick and I got like the worst bloody abomination of a blister on my hand, none of that shit mattered because that shit felt like a badge of honor. Nothing could raise my masculinity stat more. Even though at the same time, it could also feel like the most pitiful, dehumanizing, shameful rock bottom feelings when you lose the clash. I don't wanna be alive. But for that high, I will fight for that every single time. Oh, and fucking Xenoverse, get your shit together and give us beam struggles. Like, the fuck are you doing? And honestly, those beam clashes, I think segue into why I think these games are so great and so fondly remembered. I think it's the little unique details that were in all these games that everyone who's played them definitely remembers. How each game carried over the exact same lines and grunts for each character. If you play these games, you know what I'm talking about. You remember all this shit. Like how they never fixed that problem of when Cell transforms into his perfect form, he still keeps the same imperfect Cell voice and never fucking changes. When Vegeta would get hit, it kind of sounded like he was saying, "Balls!" Goku always having those same annoying ass lines like,
"You need to work out more, honey." "This is exciting. Let's do this." "You did pretty good. You sure talk tough, but you could use more training." "My name is Goku, and I'm from Earth." "Can't beat me." "You can't beat me."
Or the classic,
You do well. You do well.
Because Bandai decided to copyright the most specific thing ever, we Dragon Ball fans got the privilege of having these cool little mini games in between loading screens. There's nothing I love more than fucking spinning Roshi again and again and again, or spamming the fucking A button to make Goku eat a bunch of food, or spamming the A button to get Vegeta to do a bunch of push-ups so you can gloat to your friends that you got more push-ups done than they did. And of course, the fucking music, my guy. Every single one of these games had a bunch of bangers in their soundtrack, which, by the way, is the music I've been playing in the background of this video. Some of my favorite themes include A Hero's Desperation, which had me in this feel like I just got mercilessly beat the fuck down, but I'm about to get up and be on some If you really thought that was the extent of my power, then you really underestimated your opponent. As I would throw on a t-shirt over my head to signal to my brother, who had just mercilessly beat my shit in, that I had just gone Super Saiyan 3. Even some of the less important tracks like the character select theme or the fucking customization shop theme were fucking slappers. And I'm sure you all know the iconic Challengers. We gotta talk about the fucking what if sagas. This was easily always the best part of the story modes. The only reason to ever play Budokai 2 is to see all the insane what if fusions. You had the fusion of Yamcha and Tien, making Tiensha. This is the only game where you get to see Super Buu absorb Yamcha and Tien, Frieza, Cell, and Vegeta. Then you had the more silly what ifs like Cell having a nightmare that he absorbed Krillin, but also some really cool and interesting ideas. The one where Raditz arrives on Earth but he loses his memory and he actually becomes like a well-written and fleshed out character? It's honestly stuff like this that gives me all the great memories I had with my friends and family just playing these games. Like how whenever I got just a little bit overconfident, when my self-esteem got a stat raise, there he was, my older brother, bathed in light, ready to shatter and destroy all the dreams I've ever had, because he was the only person who I just couldn't fucking beat at these games. And I fucking swear, every time I beat this man, he always had some dumbass excuse to use.
Boy, what did I say about putting my goddamn name in your mouth? Do you want to be stomped out in these size 24 black Air Forces? Do you?
Yeah, please, Oni-chan, anything but the Air Forces. No! But I'd have to say that my favorite memory that came from all these games would have to be the opening cinematics. If you grew up playing these games, you probably remember constantly rewatching the little opening movie that would play right before you could actually start the game, and it always had some insane song. Granted, the Budokai 1 one wasn't that great, because it was kind of just the Chala Head Shawa opening, but with PS2 graphics, and the song is literally just rock the fucking dragon. But then you got Budokai 2. That shit gets me hard. That guitar, that shit can make you feel like you can beat anybody up, especially your older And the first Tenkaichi one had this like amazing 3D art that I think still looks cool to this day. It had some really cool shots too. Like this one of Frieza just kind of walking up on everybody. And my personal favorite that always made me and my brother just laugh till we pissed ourselves, where Goku and Vegeta, like right before they fight, do this like this weird ass look at each other, which basically just kind of looked like that one emoji, you know, the one that's like this. But if you've watched all the videos on this channel, then you've probably noticed me using a certain Dragon Ball opening cinematic, and that is the one from Budokai 3. On top of predicting the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie 14 years ahead of time, it honestly holds such a special place in my heart. It's lame to say, but I literally cannot watch this without getting a little choked up, because it just reminds me of all the nostalgic memories I had when I was a kid for all these games. It's a song that's so celebrational. It makes you feel like you can do anything. And whenever I hear it, I'm transported back to when I was a kid and I first rented this game from Old Man Blockbuster. May he rest in peace. I would come home from school, not talk to a single soul, not touch the shower, not eat a single thing. Just go straight to my room, turn the game on, and just watch the opening cinematic on a loop. before actually starting to play the game. And I remember the day we had to return it, my dad was like furiously looking for it because a Blockbuster had these like late fees where if you didn't return it on time, they'd kill your whole family. But he couldn't find it because I was hiding the game because I didn't want to give it up yet. But eventually I felt bad and made the decision that maybe Budokai 3 isn't as important as my family.
Maybe.
So of course I gave it to him and he returned it, but now that music and those images will forever be engraved in my head and will forever be part of the soundtrack of my childhood. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any great memories or love for these games, please let me know in the comments. Also, we're really close to 400 subs and that much closer to our sub goal of 500 subs. So if you like this shit and you haven't, liked or subscribed already, then please do me a favor and just absolutely demolish that like and subscribe button. Thank you all so much for coming to this little pit stop on the corner of the internet. Peace.